spacecraft is operating properly and the crew members are all functioning properly. And this doesn't mean 30 or 40 days. Don't misinterpret that at all.
Gentlemen, we've had a listing in the papers recently of the enormous number of celestial objects, celestial debris. Is this going to eventually present any problems to you in navigation, in the use of your radar devices, say, or what threat could this ultimately pose for our space program?
I didn't hear all of the question, but you were asking about the debris that's in space and whether it will affect our operations. Well, first of all, you've got to consider that there's a lot of debris in space that's not man-launched. One of the things I noticed on our flight were all the shooting stars that I saw down below me, which meant they went past me. And you know these things are going by, but they're not interfering with your flight. Now, most of our radar is designed to operate against an active target, which means that there's a transponder or something on the target that you're looking at with your radar. So you won't be skin painting a lot of objects, and they're not going to interfere with the operations in space. We're operating off of an active transponder, and we'll only see what the active transponder shows. It's also interesting to note that in the orbits that we fly at, there's a limited lifetime to the objects that are up there, and they're always faced by some drag, however minute it might be. So they all tend to come down and re-enter. All the stuff that's in 100-mile orbits comes down within it comes down and burns up on the way.
What kinds of scientific data will you be getting that an unmanned vehicle would not be able to get?
Oh, you asked what data we can get that an unmanned vehicle can't get? Well, when you fly an unmanned vehicle, you normally can only fly one system, and you program it step to step to step to step. This is about the only way you can do it. When you put a man on board, you can use multiple systems. You can go to your backup systems. When you find a problem up there or some interesting phase you'd like to investigate in real time, you can change your flight plan. You can investigate that, and you can bring back more data. You can do it in real time. Where with a unmanned vehicle, it all has to be pre-planned, pre-programmed, and you always end up wishing you could have done something else.
Gentlemen, when you do arrive there, do you believe there's any possibility of landing a cosmonaut waiting your arrival?
I didn't hear you. I can try it again.
Do you think there will be a cosmonaut awaiting your arrival?
No.
What was the question? You're going to stay in the hard suits throughout the flight, or are you going to get out and enjoy the comparative luxury of that larger cabin? Are you going to stay in the suits throughout the flight, or are you going to get out of them and enjoy the comparative luxury of the larger cabin?
Right now, we are planning on taking off our suits sometime after the first burn. Approximately between 25 and 30 hours into the flight, we'll start doffing the suits. If everything's going okay, that is. As long as the environmental system and everything's operating normally.
You said that you're ready to go whenever you're ready to go. Does this in any way mean that it could come this fall or early fall in any way before the end of the year?
Are you saying? I'm not sure. Are you asking me if we might fly? If everything was ready to fly, we'd certainly be silly to sit down there and wait till the first next year to fly. Don't you think? And I think there's probably a good opportunity that we should get it off this year. I mean, it's still scheduled for next year, but things are going along very well for us.
is that this is an open-ended flight in the true sense of the word. If you carry nothing else away today, we do want you to understand that. Truly open-ended. If there are any more questions, we'll go. Here's one back here. I'm sorry.
I've got two or three. One, what would an unsuccessful 202 flight do as far as your schedule is concerned?
I think we'd have to look and see what caused the failure, would have caused a failure on 202, assuming that there was a failure on 202. And I think that if there was a failure that a man could have backed up and could have corrected, why, we wouldn't hesitate to fly the next vehicle. If there was a failure of some sort that would have been catastrophic to the crew, why, then I'm sure that we wouldn't fly, and we would do some more testing and maybe some redesign.
What will be your initial orbit, and what changes in the orbit will you make? To what altitude? Okay. Initial orbit added. There we go. Our initial orbit added will be 85 by 130. Can we have the mic? There we go. Our initial orbit at insertion will be 85 by 130, and in the process of these burns, we'll increase the apogee altitude to 235 nautical miles, and perigee will remain around 85. This is for Roger. I know this open-ended business has been stressed and re-stressed, but doesn't your preliminary flight plan show that the flight is for 9 3/10 days? I know our flight plan is actually open-ended also. Our preliminary burn schedule has one burn approximately every 48 hours.
As far as open-ended business is concerned, and you're talking about a flight plan that was some number of point days, if you should look at a flight plan, you should also look at the date on it and the time on it, because they change almost daily.
Hello. I'd like to ask you guys one question. What do you find the biggest difference between this present spacecraft and those that you have flown in before? What would you say is the thing that impressed you the most as being different between this craft and the other?
Dave had a good answer. He said this one carries 3 nuts. Well, the systems are a lot more complex. The computer and the guidance system, navigation system, is a lot more complex than anything we've had before. I think the other systems are similar. The control systems, as far as the rocket engines and this sort of thing are concerned, are similar. Environmental control system is similar. I suspect the guidance and navigation system is probably the biggest change. Well, also they pointed out the SBS system is a big change too. You can look at the big